Here it is. It's the X2D. I know a lot of you are going to have a lot of questions. We're going to explain it and tell you what all's going on. You've seen the leaks. We talked about it. I told you this was coming. There it is, dual head system. And it's not a normal. Don't think H2D. X2D is different. Check this out. We got cooling on one side. We got cooling with a switch on the other. We got the standard plate, the 256 by 256 kind of thing. Great lighting. Look at that. No more carbon fiber up here. Good, great lighting in here. Standard, current standard screen, but all the magic on this is in the head and on the back. Here's the back setup currently as we speak. We got the air filter system down here. We got the buffer for the left and the right. We got the Bowden extractor. This is not the TPU assist that a lot of people were thinking it is. Standard AMS setup. This gets powered by an AMS wire. Standard power plug. Nice little light down there. And we are ready to go. And look, it's even got a spot for a second bracket, so you can be running two brackets over here. And of course, we've got the dual side windows, so you can actually get in there and see what's going on. All right, let's walk through some of the setup on this machine, the way it comes to you and whatnot. It's got a lot of great features. It's basically got like all tuned up, everything you wanted and added to from like the P2S, even better. It's got the same touch screen, beautiful interface, nice, fast, and quick, easy to set up, just like any of the other machines. You snap it in just the same. Of course, always be careful with the ribbon cable. Make sure you seat it properly. You've got it set right, left or right, and then of course, once you got it snapped in there, it just clicks right in and you're ready to go. I love the tilt option on this. It looks like they've improved the wrapping on the AMS. One weird thing was in the AMS is the filter that goes on the back. I was not expecting that. That one caught me off guard, so keep an eye out for that. The also be careful with the glass. Always, I try to put it someplace safe until it's needed. So I always keep it out of the way, someplace that's not going to get cracked. Now here you can see the back of the unit. We're going to start assembling that. This here is the Bowden drive system. This is not the TPU system. A lot of people like the TPU assist module. Be careful. There's a really short ribbon cable for pressing this on here. Again, you want to get it seated correctly. It's kind of a tight fit to get in there. But, a little bit of pressure there. You can get it to snap in. You'll hear it click. And then it just goes in these 4 holes and then snaps straight over to the left. Now, that's going to feed to the right side of the head and the print head in there. But the nice thing is all the weight for this is now outside of the print head. One key thing is this tube attaches with a nut. I recommend loosening the nut completely, push it in there as far as it will go, and then tightening it down. I had some struggles with this because I didn't do that way at the beginning, and it came off, and it was just stupid. I should have just done it the right way to start with. But then, of course, they also give you the hanger for the for your exterior, I guess exterior rolls there. I don't use those a lot. I'm probably going to set up one of the HT ones just for that. Setting up the AMS is pretty much just like setting up an AMS on a P2S. I probably said PS2. I get those two confused a lot. But again, it's the same cables. You plug it in there. You plug it into the buffer, which is the buffer like on the P2S is already installed, which is really nice. If you remember the older machines where you had to install the buffer, that's all there. You got a gray cable or a gray Bowden, not Bowden tube, a gray PTF tube. And a semi-clear one helps you keep track of what goes where. And it tells you left and right on each one so you know exactly which one you're plugging it into, all right? Then it's just a simple case of plugging the tube into your AMS unit. And, try to be smart with the routing on how you're going to do this. Make sure you don't create any harsh bends in it. Make sure you fully seat it into the receiver there, so it's not going to pop out on you. And the same thing with the Bowden drive as well. You're just going to seat it right in there. It's got a nice lever on it for removal. And I'm going to start off with the hanger on here. I'll add the HT AMS later. But there's a reason for this. There's a reason why you're probably not going to go full double AMS on this. Maybe you will. Maybe I'm not seeing the whole picture here. There's actually probably a good reason for doing it both ways. All right, that's the full setup on the back. Now let's go through a couple test prints here. I went through one of these, multi-test, kind of, it does everything. And you can sit there and judge for yourself. I've done nothing to the machine at this point. I haven't tweaked anything. I haven't adjusted anything. It just got set up and we let it run. And I'm pretty happy with the results here. You're going to see them for yourself here in just a second. I'll take them out and take a look at it. Okay, let's take an evaluation of our tests here. Overhang did pretty good. I don't see much stringing in there. Wow, that printed perfectly. These just came right off. As far as clearance, we got clearance on that one, not on those two. That did pretty well. And then height layer test and heat test. There we go. We can see, put it against the black there, you can see some stringing there and there and there, like every other one. That's odd. All right, a little first layer test. Look at that. I'm ripping it. Sorry about that. That is thin. That's pretty good. I did this when I was picking it up. See, it's pretty easy to rip, but that was a good clean test. And here's the real reason for this machine, which is running two different types of filament, one a standard filament and the other one a support filament. And I know they're both red, but that really helps when it comes to removing supports and stuff. So if there is anything left behind, it blends in with the color. But this is one of the hangers there for the new cross-tracking switching system here we'll talk about later. Well, here we are. And of course the prime tower fell over. Well, let's see what we got. Yeah, that's because of the prime tower course. But the whole point of this, now remember, this is PLA, this is PET G. Look at that. I can get much easier than that. Good surfaces. Of course, the issue with the prime tower. Got to play with the interface layers a little bit. Man, I'm going to have some fun with this. Okay, so you've seen the machine, and I know some of you are going to get it. It's intuitive for some people, and some people are still going to have this mindset of, I was expecting a mid-size tool changer, a mid-size H2D or H2C, my bad. And it's not that, all right? But you got to remember, there's a right tool for every job, and not every 3D printer is the right one for you. If you're printing tons of multicolor and flexi dragons and all that kind of stuff, this is not the printer for you. This is what the X1C was to the next level. And I'm going to say it again, I told you so. I told you way back when. I said there's going to be an X2 something or other. It could be an X2C, it could be an X2D. There's a hole in their pricing ladder, and you've been hearing all sorts of people using these terms, the pricing ladder, and there's a hole in the system. Wonder where they got all that. Yeah, anyway, I did a couple videos on it back in the day. I should be doing my I told you so dance. I got a whole routine I could do, but I'm not going to do that. There's kids watching. We won't do that here. Point is this. This is not the casual user's machine, okay? That's not what this is. If you're looking for production multicolor, get the H2C. If you're looking for a hobbyist machine, the P2S is where you're at. If you are an engineer or if you are doing any of these things where it's going to be two color, like a lot of stuff, you know, the things that I print, I don't, of course, have any of them right here. Socket trays are what we mainly sell on the channel, and they're dual color. I could print dual color with this machine all day long. All right, now the Bowden side, there's a lot of limitations on the Bowden side, okay? Because the Bowden side has an extractor, has the pusher, let's call it, the motor in the back, is way back on the back, which makes the head lighter, but it has some downsides. It allows you to get all that in a small footprint. We're going to show you about what it's like to use the software and everything else. But you're not going to be able to put every material through the Bowden side. You're pretty much going to be rigid, basic kind of stuff. No, you probably don't want to run any of the harsh abrasives through it. You probably want to just stick to like PLA, water dissolvable, the support filaments. There's a couple other ones when you start getting into like the higher end engineering stuff. There's some other ones you want to run over on the other side. You don't want to be running TPU with it. You'd want to switch that up, run TPU on the direct drive side, and then run like a PLA support, because those two don't bond well together, just like I did with the PLA and the PETG high flow. And that's what gets me so excited about this. This is the ultimate support material kind of thing. The biggest thing that's been holding me back with 3D prints is support materials. Yes, you can do it. Yes, but I don't like sitting there with snips and spending 5 hours trying to get the little. People are like, oh, you can dial it in. You could do all that. It's still an issue. I've been doing this 10 plus years. It's still an issue. Being able to print dual material like this in a mid-sized box is, for some people, just the chef's kiss, if you will. I get it. It may not be right for you. I will never sit there and tell you that every tool is right for every person. But if you're making automotive parts, if you're making engineering parts, if you're making complicated pieces, that one of the things I'm working on is a replacement latch for the Harbor Freight Bauer system. And I'm trying to see if I can adapt it to allow other systems to connect to it. This is a kind of complicated little unit, and not printing it with small pieces with a lot of support material in there, that would suck. If only there was a printer that would handle this super easily and had a lightweight Bowden extractor so I could push the PLA and do the whole rest of it in, I don't know, maybe PCTG to give it a little bit extra more resilience. Yes, this is why I'm excited. For the people who don't get it, I can't make you get it. You probably got your head locked in that it's supposed to be a tool changer. It's not a tool changer, all right? It's an engineering machine. It is the X1C to the next level. That's what it is. Now, could they turn it into a vortex system, a 4-tool vortex system? They could pop one of those fans that are in there blowing across. They could pop one of those out, put a vortex system. I don't know what they're going to do. They have not told me. I've hypothesized. Is it possible? It's certainly possible. But again, now if they did that though, that right-hand side is a Bowden. So I don't think it'll work like that. Who knows? They've got great engineers. I'm not that good of an engineer. All right, I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, but I'm not quite that good. But let's take a look at using the software, okay? And then we'll come back. All right, and we're in the software here, and the first thing you're gonna see is that left nozzle only zone. And if you're familiar with the H2D or the H2Z, that's gonna be, it's a very similar interface, and you're gonna have that kind of restriction, which means, but in this case, if you're printing just supports, it should be fairly easy to work around that, just adjusting the way they're gonna go. Look at these. These are the parts that come for they give you to download and print for the cross switching system for the AMSs. I'm going to talk about it in a minute. And as you could tell, lots of overhangs in this. This is overhang heaven, if you would, and a truly difficult piece to work with. But in this case, I'm setting them up to print in PETG, and then I go over and I set them up to have the supports print only in PLA. Now this would be a huge waste switching back and forth on a single nozzle, but on a dual nozzle, it's not a big deal going left and right, one to the other. And I don't even need to change for the interface because, again, it's that dual nozzle system. Now, playing with interface levels and all that, that's something we're going to do. And I'm probably going to have to do that in a second video because there's just so much to cover in this kind of aspect of it. This is really just an entry-level video, introductory video, I should say, showing you what this is capable of, what it is, and why it's important. I know we're still going to get a lot of people going, but it's not a tool changer. It's not. It's not that tool. Not every tool is a screwdriver, guys. Not every tool is a hammer, and I'm talking to the Sparkies. You know I am. All right, so, and also learn what a broom is. But we come in here and, you know, I think I've already changed it to from PETG to PLA for the support. So it's automatically going to draw from one side to the other. And I'm going to get rid of a bunch of the ones here. We're going to print just the one to get started because this is the first time using this. And you're going to get to see, well, you've already actually seen how that worked out. Okay, I hope that made more sense to you, all right? Now that you've seen the software and how it works. This is a dual head system and think of it as a primary and a secondary. Don't think of it like the H2D where they're both, you know, essentially the same thing. This is not that. This has a specific engineering aspect, or for dual colors, there's certain people are going to fit in this, all right? Just remember, it's going to have all the cool stuff. It's got a heated chamber. It's got, you know, flow control. There's a whole lot more that I can fit into this one video. We're going to be doing a bunch of follow-up videos because this is a really cool piece of tech. They've got, besides the TPU assist, which we're going to load up on this, there's also a switcher that you can do. And the switcher snaps on the back, and that's the part I was printing for. It holds it, snaps it on the back. And what that switcher does is it allows you to print from one AMS to a print head, or from one AMS to another print head. It's specifically for dual print heads. It probably works best on the H2D. I don't know, I'll have to evaluate it, but it's just like a train switcher. You got the two tracks, and at one point there's an X crossover. So this train can go here, and this train can go here. Same thing, all right? If you've got an AMS, and I got 4 spools over here, it's going to this print head, and I got 4 going to this head, well, I want to print from this one to that one. What do? The switcher handles it. Magic. It's awesome. All right. As I said, there's more than I can handle in just one video. Let's talk about pricing real quick. Let me pull up my notes. All right. And here we go. $650 for the base unit. That I can't believe they're doing it at this price. And with the AMS, you're looking at $900 for the complete package there. And that's going to get you all that. Now, there's going to be add-ons up to 25% off. 30% off on that. Of course, we know about the filament situation going on right now, but I gotta say, price-wise, that's coming in a lot lower than I was expecting. It's almost like there's room for something else above that. Oh my gosh. What could it be? I don't know. I don't have information. I don't have solid information. I'm hypothesizing. Tool changer hypothesizing, okay? Let's be clear about that. But these are great prices to start. I mean, I know for a lot of you, you're like, I don't care. That's great. It's not for you. That happens, all right? But if you know, for you shop guys looking to print stuff in your shop, there's a lot of things that have been holding me back with 3D printing because just having to deal with the supports it becomes problematic on some of these parts. You're just like, how do I put this like this and get the support that? Not a worry anymore with this. This is going to be fun for me. I'm going to be using this a lot around the shop. I'm excited about this. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know what the questions and stuff you want me to do in the follow-up. Follow-up video is going to be handled over on my other channel, 3D Print Rancher. I'll have to change hats for that one. If you haven't seen that channel, go check it out. If you go to the main page, links are at the bottom to my other 2 channels. We have that channel, and then we have a channel where I help people get started with YouTube. Oh, it's time for me to go. You all take care. God bless. And as always, shine on.